I am back. And I'm back with some nuggets and pearls that's going to help you elevate your game. And guess what? I've been doing the same. This is Kevin Johnson of Leverage Consulting, and this is yet another edition of the Resilient Entrepreneur Podcast. In recent history, I've had a tremendous opportunity to be spending some time with some highly successful people. People that are successful in their own ways, people who have been financially successful, people who have been successful in terms of business accomplishments and just numbers of different things. Some have what I might even consider to be like superpowers, things that just make what they do very unique. What they might be into may not be unique, but their skill set in that area makes them very unique. So with that said, one of the things I want to start it out with, and this is going to be something that I do over the next couple of podcasts, is there's a couple of them, as I said, they've been very successful financially. Some of them to the tunes of hundreds of millions of dollars. Some of them, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And we're not talking about what the business makes. I'm talking about what they make. So it's been interesting watching some of them because whether you are, you own a business, you are highly compensated, or you have aspirations to be such. Some of the things that I'm going to talk about apply to anyone. It doesn't matter whether you're just starting out, you've hit a plateau, you're in a completely different league from where you want to be. All of these things apply to you. So one of the individuals that I've talked about, actually two of the individuals that I've been around, they've both had vision boards, and they've had vision boards where they have very, very big goals on these vision boards. I mean, these are game-changing items that they have on their vision boards, meaning if they can afford to have it, it is like an entirely different life, entirely different lifestyle. And interestingly enough, one of them I was talking to, right now they pretty much have the cash flow, they have the investments, the financial nest egg. They can literally do whatever they want anymore. They're in a position where we actually sat down and he and I sat there and Googled the net worth of a bunch of different professional athletes. And it was interesting because based on the stock market on any given day, he's worth more than many of these professional athletes, people who are making stupid amounts of money. My point in talking about this is someone who can do whatever they want. And I think many people think money is the source of happiness. And the more and more I get around some of these folks, and the more I reflect on some of the people that I've been around in the past, it becomes abundantly clear that money is not oftentimes the source of happiness. Money can fuel it. Money can be a measurement of the possibility, but it is not a guarantee for success. And it's interesting because he made an interesting statement where he had two very large items on his vision board, and he said, "You know what? Now that I can afford it, I really don't want it." He says, "I have to redo my board." And it was interesting because it provided him the drive to get to where he was capable and able to acquire these things, but now that he can, he doesn't want to. And when you really sit back and think, maybe in past times in your life, you may have had times where you thought, or maybe back to college, or maybe back before you even had to make a car payment, had to pay your insurance payment or anything like that, you may have thought, oh, when I am able to afford that watch, or when I can buy this bigger house, or when I can buy this super fancy car, all things will be great, right? But the reality of it is those things come with other things. And quite honestly, some of these things, for example, if you bought a really big boat, well, some of it may mean you have to actually pay to maintain this thing. If you bought a really big boat, sometimes the cost of ownership per year is 10% of the actual cost of the item. So let's just say that your dream boat is $500,000. To take that money and make someone else happy might actually provide them with more happiness than actually buying the watch or buying the boat or buying the bigger house. Being able to make someone else happy and making someone else happy. And there's another person here that I know who is also very well off. And part of their purpose is just to make enough money that they can do for others who can't. And they're using what they're doing as a conduit to be able to fuel that. And it provides them purpose, and it also provides them that happiness that I'm talking about. So just making more money is not always going to be it. And you have to be very strategic about how you go about making that money. Because let's face it, you can work 40 hours a week and make a certain amount of money. You can work 60 hours a week, and for that 20 extra hours that you work, you might be able to earn that time and a half. But then if you're going into a different tax bracket, you might work an extra 20 hours a week to get very little of that time and a half that you worked. You're just paying the government. So then you have to start being strategic about how you earn it. And do I do it through a business, or do I do it through my business that I already have? And, we have to start really thinking and being very deliberate about how we utilize our time to create that happiness, and even what you do for a living, how you go about doing it. Because there's people that I know that say that they're not happy in their job. I wholeheartedly believe this, that sometimes if we looked at our job differently, we could be thrilled to death with our job if we only looked at it differently. If we condition ourselves to do nothing but look at the negative in our job, then guess what? That's all we're going to get. But if we can look at the positive and how we can change people's lives, even if you're in a job or own a company where it's somewhat of a routine product or service, we might be able to provide happiness for ourselves, our team, our customers, if all we did was provide something that is different from our competition. And I will tell you, in today's world, it is not that hard. It is actually really easy right now. So many people have withdrawn and stepped down, stepped back, and in today's world, it is not hard to be a superstar. So in all this, with all the root of everything we're talking about right now is money. And the money that you earn is only going to be a sign of possibly a measurement. And this is the key piece to this. The money may be nothing more than a measurement to your ability to have freedom, not to buy things. The buying things might be a byproduct of you having that freedom. But freedom is the ability to take a day off. Freedom is the ability to spend time with your family. Freedom is the ability to not have to grind and work because you have bills coming. And it does not matter. I will tell you, I have been working with clients, businesses that make hundreds of thousands of dollars per year to tens of millions of dollars per year and more. And the reality of it is, it's all zeros. The math is all the same, except for when you add a zero here or subtract it there. Meaning, it's the exact same problems for somebody who makes $100,000 a year versus $1 million a year versus $10 million a year, because all you're doing is adding a zero in the end of any of the numbers that you might be thinking about. Nothing else changes, but the one thing you have to do is take care of yourself. And what goal you really should be shooting for is freedom and happiness, and how you use your financial resources to facilitate that. That should be the real goal. Not to buy the watch, not to buy the car, not to do any of those other things. To have the opportunity, to have the ability, but then you choose, because the overriding factor in all of this is the financial freedom to be able to do it. And is this item going to make me happy? Because I can assure you, most times it's not. Sometimes happiness comes from things that don't cost you a dime. So think about some of the things, how you're structuring your days, your weeks, your month, and your purchase patterns, and find out, are any of these things really helping me provide myself financial freedom and happiness? And that, my friends, was your Resilient Entrepreneur podcast. As I said, I've got a series of podcasts that I'm bringing. They're all a result of being around other people that are helping me elevate my game, because I'm seeing how they're being successful. And those are the kinds of things that I want to provide you in these next series of podcasts.